Check it out. Thursdays, 10 a.m. Mountain Time, noon Eastern. A healthy dose of Jersey Girl wisdom. Live with Rev Jersey Girl. Sponsored by New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring. New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Hello, hello, greetings, beloved. So glad you're here with us. We have a special show today, and I'm happy to bring to you a couple of special guests. Today's conversation is one of those tough conversations and necessary conversations and courageous conversations, and it is one that I'm glad you're here for. As a Jersey girl, born and bred, you know, I could just come on here and be stupid and say, "How you doing?" But the truth is, we come in all shades of color, and I'm going to introduce to you another one of my favorite Jersey girls today, and then a friend from New England, and we're going to bring you into our world as we have been completely committed to the world of being part of the change, being part of the healing. And so healing the divide is what we're here to talk about today. We did have another guest who was supposed to be with us, one of our cohorts, and technology just got in the way. So Sandy Freed, we love you, we miss you, and but you're here with us in spirit. So let us bring into the studio my very good, very, very old friend, Reverend Jude Denning from Stewart, Florida, from of Unity, Stewart of Florida, and Tracy Amandian. I know I never say your name right. Coming out of Rhode Island. Say it for me, Tracy.
Tracy Amadian.
Amadian. Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
No,
I'm always afraid to say it, you know, because I don't want to get it wrong, and then I get it wrong because I'm afraid to say it. Well, I'm so glad you ladies are here to join us and, you know, to be here with me in this conversation. And so let's start though with let's do a little self-introduction before we show the video. And then we'll talk about why we have this video and what it means and such and such and such. So Jude, why don't you start us off today?
Hi, everybody. It's good to be back as Michelle's very, very, very old friend. I'm happy to be here to talk about these difficult conversations that we must have. I am the pastor and minister at Unity of Stewart in Stewart, Florida. I've been here for 6 years, and I am born and bred Jersey girl by way of Albuquerque, New Mexico, and now finally here in Florida. And it's good to be doing this work, and I'm looking forward to this conversation. So thanks, Michelle, for asking me.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you. You're welcome. And Tracy, introduce everyone to yourself.
So yeah, my name's Tracy Amadian. I am, I live in Rhode Island now. It's my home. It's my chosen home because I was born and raised in Texas. So I come to Rhode Island via Texas. And so I have I think that everything that I am is colored by, many of those geographical locations. So I'm delighted to be in this conversation. It's a courageous conversation. It's a vulnerable conversation. It's a necessary and viable conversation. It's something that I'm passionate about and that, scares me. So I know I'm on the edge of my learning curves. I'm on the edge of my growing edge. I'm on the growing edge. Because I do feel some fear around it. So, but happy to be here and courageously knowing all is well.
And so thank you. And before we show the video, we've been doing this work for a number of years, and my community specifically happens to be a community with lovely, lovely diversity. It's one of my favorite aspects of who we are, and all sorts of diversity, inclusion. And I want to answer the question, hair in my mouth, in case someone's asking it, why are these 3 white women doing this? And I have to tell you, it is because it's our work. If you're white, it's your work. It's our work. I guess I want to say that we were the cause, that our ancestors were the cause of the problem. So if we own the problem, then we're here to heal it. Mm-hmm. And that's why, that's why we are continuing to do this work and stay in this conversation. So we have a video. It's about 6 minutes long, Jude, I think.
I can't remember.
So it's a little bit longer than something I would normally show on the show, but I think it's important for you to see this video and to open your heart to it. Great question, Tony. I'll answer that after the video. Joni's asking us, what is our work? And thanks for being here, Tony. The video is going to prompt reaction in you. And you might just go, yep, you called me out, that's it. Or it could do more. So just be prepared. It's good. It's a good thing. And it's a good thing to feel. And one of the things I do consistently in all of my diversity inclusion education work, both with these book studies that we've done in my community, the thing I feel that is most important is that you're willing to stay in the feeling until you are delivered from the fear of the feeling. That's actually how I want to say it. Because usually when we feel something intensely, we want to push it away. But when we stay in it long enough and we kind of befriend it, then we learn from it. And we can find direction from that feeling. So let yourself feel. No one ever died from just feeling. It's okay. You can get through it, and we're here to support you. So, Diego, if you will, please.
You make the move from allyship to co-conspiratorship. Mm. So the question I want you to sit with is, can you identify, once Dr. Love gives us a definition, can you identify a co-conspirator that you've had in your work? Mm-hmm. And can you break down for us this difference between an ally and a co-conspirator?
Yeah, so
I bet you can.
So the book is about this idea of abolitionist teaching, right? And so shout out to upstate New York. I'm from upstate New York. We don't like New Yorkers, but that's okay. Because when you're from upstate New York, like, where are you from? I'm from upstate. Queens? No. Brooklyn? No. Albany? No. I'm from upstate New York, Rochester, New York, 90 miles from Canada, right? And so, so we had abolitionists in upstate New York. That's where I grew up. And the one thing about an abolitionist had to be a co-conspirator. Mm. I mean, I want y'all for a second to just think about the Underground Railroad. The Underground Railroad freed over 100,000 enslaved Africans and black folks. Right? Think about this. There was no Twitter. There was no Facebook. There was no Instagram. This was all off trust and love of each other. And to say that this system of racism and bondage, no more.
Yeah.
We did that. It was everyday people. Farmers, bankers, doctors, teachers, nurses, all ethnicities. We did that as a country. Someone came to your door, gave you a code, you just had to trust them. And so I wanted to bring that back. What would it mean for us in 2019 to think about what it would mean to be an abolitionist and to be a co-conspirator? And in the book, I use James Tyson. Mm-hmm. Now, many people are not familiar with who James Tyson is. You know Bree Newsom. Bree Newsom was the young black woman who took that Confederate flag down in South Carolina 8 days after Dylann Roof went into the AME church. Mm. And I tell the story in the book because I think this is an important story because Bree Newsom and James Tyson did not know each other. There were some folks who got together and said that flag is coming down. They said, and a black woman's going to take it down. They taught Bree how to climb. They had Bree's bail money ready. And that morning, Bree Newsom and James Tyson were at an IHOP. They got the word, come take the flag down. Bree Newsom climbs up on the pole to take the flag down. Now, this is where the difference between an ally and a co-conspirator is. James Tyson, now there's a gate for the flagpole. James Tyson isn't standing like outside the gate. Okay, like Bree, they coming, Bree. Hey, Bree. No, James Tyson, he is inside. And then the police say, you know what? We can get her down. Mm-hmm. Tase the pole. Mm. James Tyson, because he wasn't here, he was here, said, okay. He put his hand on the pole. That white man at that moment understood why he was there. He put his hand on the pole, and he knew that the police would not tase that pole with a white man, healthy white man, right there. He saved her life. That's what it means to be an ally. You can stand out there, and allies know all the language. They read all the books. They come to the meeting with all the terms. Right? They read the report before you read the report. Right? I always say allies make black folks feel bad. Like, did you read the new Ta-Nehisi Coates book? Damn, I didn't read the new Ta-Nehisi Coates book. Like, you know, I've been busy being black. Right? So I didn't read the new Ta-Nehisi Coates book, but I know it's fire. Right? So they come and they know everything and they good. And then after the meeting, you're like, well, what we gonna do? They go, you're like, hey, they left already? Where'd they go?
I'm gonna call an Uber.
Right? So that's the difference between being an ally and a co-conspirator. You know, and this is that back to that abolitionist, is to put something on the line for somebody.
Yeah.
Take a risk to see how to use your whiteness. And I tell folks all the time, whiteness is like a bank. And it just, your ATM card just replenishes itself. So spend it. As the kids say, cash out. Right? Cash out. It's going to come right back. And so to be a co-conspirator, I try to write in the book, is to take risks for somebody. To put something on the line, but to use it in a way in which where you're using your privilege.
Yeah.
Yes. Use it. And I'm not just talking about white folks. I'm talking about cisgender folks. Use it for trans folks. Like, use it for queer folks. Yeah. Like, put something on the line. Take a risk. It doesn't have to be small risk, big risk. James Tyson simply said here. Put his hand on the pole. That's it. And that's what we are talking about with co-conspirators. Allies, they know everything. They can say, they can talk it. But when it's time, they're not there. And if they're there, they're looking at you like, you going? Oh, you going. You go on the front lines, right? Black folks and brown folks, we don't want to fight racism. The Creator did not put me here to fight racism.
Yeah.
If you believe that, that's racist. I should be here and be in my full life and be my full self and my full human.
Yes.
But I gotta fight.
Okay, if you're watching, take a big breath. and just feel. And just feel. Because, well, I'm not going to guess what any of you might be feeling, and I'm referring specifically to the audience right now. Your reactions might be all over the place, and I really encourage you to write in the comments whatever it is your responses are. We'd love to see them. But it's very possible you're feeling called out, or it's possible you're feeling upset. And it could be a combination of those things. And Jude, Tracy.
Yeah, yeah, she's talking to me, man. Read all the books, know all the words, do all the book studies, and I put very little on the line as a cisgendered white woman of a certain age. I put nothing on the line, or very little on the line. I'm proud of myself. I have a Black Lives Matter sign in my front yard in a pretty conservative part of the country, and that gets garbage thrown on my lawn. That's the risk that I take when I see garbage on my lawn. And so when she speaks about James Tyson and being a co-conspirator, it speaks to me. And the thought that Black people are not here to fight racism. And so I'll echo what Michelle said earlier about what are we doing here, white women of a certain age, and it may seem ridiculous to keep talking about this. It may people, say, well, what are you going to do? Well, the only thing worse than white women talking about this is white women not talking about it, because white women have to be heard. And so I keep going, and I keep doing this work. And I'm behind that video. It did not upset me in the way where I felt like it was wrong. I said, yep, she's talking about me. She's talking about me. So I own that. And I'll look for ways to be co-conspirator.
Thank you. I'm getting some feedback. Diego, is there anything I could do? All right, let me see if I can fix it on my side. There's some feedback happening. So Tracy, reactions? Want to throw your 2 cents in here?
Yeah, the good thing is that I don't feel resistant to it. I don't feel anything as far as resistance to what was said in the video. Made me laugh, made me tear up. It would be great to have that kind of trust. I think today what I'm learning is that trust is not, it's not a given, right? And everything I listen to is that, everything that I've put on the line today is just willing to have the conversation with people who show up in my life, willing to open up the conversation and ask questions and speak from my heart, and continue to question when people say things like, oh, I just need to worry about my own family. I have enough on my plate to worry about my own family. I can't be responsible or in charge of the world. And I just keep saying things like, well, I think that to believe that you're insulated in your own small family and not that you're not affected by racism and racist behavior is such a white privilege. It's like, it's such a white privilege to not believe that this is not affecting me. And I have that experience many times a day. I recognize that my white privilege gets upset, my white privilege gets triggered, my fragility gets triggered. I'm out there in the world, and I can sometimes, hear comments like, it must be nice not to have to think about these things. It must be nice not to engage in the conversation, to be so insulated and isolated that I can just, happily go along my way without a thought or a care for my brothers and sisters, my neighbors, my friends, people in my life. I just, and it's it's a good thing she said about, the LGBTQ community, the trans community. I mean, these are all people in my community that I'm starting to realize the more I wake up to even just whiteness, the more sensitive I am to just the intersectionality of all of these different communities and where I stand within all of that. And so, yeah, I'm just, I don't know all the language. I don't know everything that, okay, sorry. Yeah, it's hard. And in fact, today I showed up, I didn't know I was going to be live on a show either. I thought it was a, behind the scenes conversation. So, for me to just, okay, cold turkey. Yeah, that's it. That's what I want to be. I want to show up however I'm being asked to show up. And sorry, I'm shaking because I don't have this thing stabilized. So anyway, that's it. That's it for me.
All right. Thank you. I want to do one commercial and then a commercial announcement, and then I want to go on. I have some reactions I want to offer. So while we're here, while you're watching, please support New Thought Media Network. Whether I say this every week, whether it's a one-time gift or an ongoing gift, this New Thought Media Network is great for science of mind people, unity people, Unitarian people, anybody spiritual, metaphysical, or anybody who wants to be, or anybody who's curious about it. The way we keep this teaching growing is by sharing these videos and expanding. So please give to this radio station because they really do need your support. They are working on a bare shoestring budget, and man, do they need your love in the form of dollars. So please give to New Thought Media Network. So a few things. One, Barbara from the UU Morristown Unitarian, the Unitarian Church in Morristown. Good for y'all. Good for you. She said here that they put out a banner, all lives cannot matter until Black lives matter. It was trash put into our mailbox with dog poop. We replaced it with a bigger banner. Holy, I'm going to be a good girl. And here's the thing. If you're white and you're listening and you're like, what the hell? I'm so over the top with all lives matter. All lives are not threatened. All lives don't worry about being on the highway. All lives don't have to have the conversation with their young teenage boys and daughters when they get of driving age. So until you experience that, try to wrap your mind around why Black Lives Matter even has to exist. Why that even came to be is just okay. And I like the question here. I want to respond to Dawn Lee Martin, a Canadian. Now, I've been to Canada a number of times, and I'm here to tell you that there are some areas in Canada where I go like this, and you don't see a person of color anywhere. So I think asking the question, how do you put yourself out there? Great question, Dawn Lee. Truth be told, I don't have an answer. I'm sure someone has more of an answer. I don't know what to say. And it's like, how do we position ourselves? How do we actually position ourselves to be that co-conspirator and not just the ally? Now, if I can't do both, and if I can't be the co-conspirator, I'm going to stay being the ally until I see something show up that allows me. Because the education, and even now I'm going to go a little Jersey, even pissing people off so they're not comfortable. That's part of it. I don't want you to be comfortable, because when you're comfortable, you go complacent. And I'll share what just happened. My community and Diego, let's show them that banner. Jude and Tracy is in a program that we're all doing. It's called Healing the Divide. I don't even know if we've mentioned the name yet. Healing the Divide this is the third round of conversations we've had in book studies. And these book studies are going to be happening all over the country. We had a facilitator training already. And if you'd like to participate, you can use this link in order to participate. So we got a new website, and I pressured my beloved Lee Seidenberg, all, credit to him, to get this website up for us so we could introduce Healing the Divide to the country. And then one of my African American practitioners said, Reverend Michelle, there's no people of color on the first set of hands, on the first page. I went, oh, that's privilege. That's privilege. Now I'm going to quickly forgive myself because I placed the pressure and I made it happen, but I'm going to get it replaced ASAP. The moment I can get to him and we can find a picture, we will get that replaced. But I want to tell you how easy it is to be blind. It's so easy to be blind.
That's why we have to have African Americans in leadership, so they don't allow us to be blind.
Yes.
They are the ones that can say, not that they have to, but having diversity among leaderships.
Yes.
And also having them completely be in charge of, I don't know, I was reading about media and having them, the producers and, having them produce and direct movies and, all media so that, it doesn't get glossed over.
I have a very precious, I'm not going to use her name right now because I don't know if she wants me to, a very precious co-chair of my community right now. And I have tried to the best of my ability to keep our leadership filled with diversity, and even the people who show up on Sunday mornings that people see themselves. And she's precious and she's sensitive to things that I would not know how to be. So you're right there. You're absolutely right there, Tracy. And I want to bring out something. Jude and I were having a conversation the other day in one of our trainings. When I was, we're probably talking about the the late 70s, early 80s, when I was a new mom, and Jude was a new mom. I didn't know what I didn't know. I was so busy putting food on the table, raising my kids, trying to just be a good person in the world. The idea that more was needed of me was not even, it wasn't there, just wasn't there. And I want to say to you, if that's you, I understand. And what I'd like you not to do is feel guilty, but what I would like you to do is get in the conversation now. You can't be late to this conversation because this conversation won't be done until everyone has that same freedom to choose and to feel safe. And let's get rid of the idea that this is political. This is not political. I get very welled up, to be honest with you. Necessarily so. So let's, Jude and Tracy, let's talk to our audience about Healing the Divide, and let's make some invites and, talk about what the study group is for, and invite people in.
So I'll begin. Hold on, I'm reaching for the book so you can see it live here with all my notes sticking out of it. So this is the book that that Michelle, I, and Sandy Freed have been working on for a few months now, to put together a program to invite all y'all in. This is a book by not Dr. Ruth King, who is a Buddhist, a Black woman, and it's about being mindful of the inside world by our own diving into our own interiority about racism and where we are. And it's for white people and Black people. However, the groups are race specific, and because that's what she asks for in this book. And how many facilitators do we have, Michelle?
13.
13 facilitators across the country. And what we're going to be working at doing is transforming, as Ruth King says, transforming racism from the inside out. And as Michelle, piggybacking on to what Michelle said a little bit earlier, is like, we don't know what we don't know. The one thing that I've learned in the book studies that I've facilitated is that people will go, oh, I didn't realize that I was a racist. I didn't realize that I grew up in a family of racists. We don't know what we don't know until someone shows us the way. So that's what we're about in this book study. So you'll see that link again, I'm sure. And come and join us and do that interior work to figure out what's going on with you and how to move forward. It all starts within.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. I'm putting the link into the chat again in case any. Oh, a couple of us. Oh, we went in a few times, so that you can sign on from wherever you are if you're interested. So Tracy, tell us about because Tracy, you had you kind of had a coming to Jesus moment with yourself.
Yeah.
And so your story is a very beautiful one, and now you've stepped that up, and you've kept the conversation alive for a long time there in Rhode Island. You've been, as a practitioner, you've been responsible for that. So tell us a little bit about what's going on up there in Whiteville.
Yeah. Yeah. I recognize, CSL Home Office put forth the Me and White Supremacy book study, and that was something I participated in, which was, talk about like really in your face. That was a true in my face wake up call to, my lack of awareness of whiteness, my how I'm connected to my white race community. Knowing that I don't even think of myself as being part of a white community, and that in and of itself has been a journey. I had to hit my guilt and shame head on, and feel it, and move through it, and not let it stop me, and not let it push me back into that white bubble, But I think it's that part of it is such an inside job, to not really have any self-awareness. My whole life has been about becoming more self-aware, and to not have to recognize that I have no self-awareness around, or I had no self-awareness around whiteness or white supremacy or my race in and of itself, and how I dance within that group, and to realize that the Black community, every single moment of every single day, swims in the awareness that they are Black. I never think that I'm white. I never have to think of that. And I'm, that's just what I've been diving into and becoming more aware of, and just staying in the conversation and not letting my feelings keep me from moving forward. And, it's an inside job. For me, it's an inside job. And like you said, Michelle, until I get to that place where I am called, I know what I'm doing is building consciousness muscles, so that when and if I am going to be called, when and if it's my time to step out in risk, whatever is mine to risk, that I will be able to do that. I will be able to have the muscle to do that. And I can't imagine it. I don't know what it's like Don Lee said. I don't know what it's going to be. I don't know what it's going to look like, but I want to be ready. Yeah. I want to be ready to answer that call. And so everything that I do today is about being ready for that call. When I'm going to be able to stand next to somebody and risk whatever it is I have to risk, to say, no more. No more. So don't know when that's going to be. Don't know what it's going to be, but I want to be ready. Yeah. And that's why I do this work. I want to be ready.
Thank you, Tracy. Beautiful. A few years ago, a colleague of mine, Reverend Karen, her name went out of my head all of a sudden. She put on the ministerial listserv Google group that she was going down to El Paso to stand at the border. And this had to do with all the children that were being held, oh my God, in prison. I'm just going to say in prison. And every ounce of my being said, I'm going. It was immediate. It was spontaneous. I didn't have the money at the moment. Someone donated it for me, and I went. There was zero thinking. So, as you're sharing, Tracy, I guess what I'm hoping is that at that moment, when that similar opportunity happens, that my yes will be there. I used to ponder, think about Martin Luther King Jr. and all those who are on the front lines walking. And I used to admit to, out loud, I don't know if I could be in the front. I think now I'm more ready. I think I would always be afraid. But I guess there's nothing that we'll accomplish unless we're willing to walk with that fear as a friend. And it's still all those memories and all that history. It just absolutely horrifies me. And now, as we're sensitizing ourselves, not to deflect, but as we're sensitizing ourselves to how we have taken this country from the people whose country it was, and I'm talking about the land, it's like, man, we just think we can do no wrong. And that's got to end. It's just got to end. And I'd like it to end, though, with love. We don't have to be recognized, and we don't have to be patted on the back, because God knows that's ridiculous. But I'd like to walk in love toward this, within this conversation on a consistent basis, and be able to take the bruises when they come. Be able to take them. I mean, I've lost community members over these conversations, and it's okay. And it's okay. And if you're wondering, is this for you? I'm going to even invite you to get in touch with me. Go through the website, click on my name. It'll send me an email. I will have a conversation with you and do everything I can to encourage you to be in this conversation. Because until everyone's safe, we're not done. Okay. Comments, reactions, more?
Just all of that. I love what Tracy said about, I don't know when it's going to come, but this work is getting us ready. And I jump into that with both feet, so that if and when the time comes, I will have, thank you for this metaphor, Tracy, I will know that I have built a muscle, so I can stand up and be a co-conspirator instead of just an ally.
The one thing that I know that you've done right, Jude, and the one thing I do believe I've done right is even in my blindness, I happen to raise 3 sons who are not racist or homophobic, not consciously participating. I mean, I'm not saying they haven't adopted it. The systemic stuff, they might still be blind. Got that. But what I know is what comes out of their mouth is that they are they would each be equally horrified by the history and what's gone on. And I know that you've raised your daughters in that way, and I know because we've raised our children together. So if those of you, there's some of you out there, and you have children, you have grandchildren, the critical thing for you to do as quickly as you can, if you have not done it already, is to absolutely normalize having relationships with people of color. Normalize having art around and having
books,
poetry.
Children's books.
That's right. That expose them. Normalize this, which is what the spiritual community I was born into when I was young did for me, and which is probably why my spiritual community has all shades, because that's what I grew up around. So bring your children to the point where it's normal, where it's natural. I shared the story some months back. My granddaughter, we were at a swim meet. Denville, New Jersey is a small suburban town. It has greater diversity than it had even when I first moved here. Lovely. I'm so happy. But my granddaughter at the swim meet, when we were driving away that night, she said to me, Nana, there were no black people here. I thought, Oh, hallelujah. My 6-year-old granddaughter, or 7 at the time, recognized that we were all white. Okay, I'm good. I'm good with that. I'm not good with that it was all white, but I'm good that she recognized it and has already developed an expectation to have it be different. So what would either one of you give as advice to our listeners as steps? Even baby steps or big steps? What would you have them do?
For me, I would, for this is the first step, and it may not be such a baby step, but it's ask yourself the question, where am I racist? Where am I? And just wait for the answer. Where am I racist? And then when that answer comes, how do I take care of that? How do I mitigate that? How do I expand my consciousness? And it's not about beating ourselves up, because here we are, white women, white people. We are racist. Every single one of us is racist to some extent, because it's inescapable in our culture and in our society. It's inescapable, and we are so used to it, we are blind to it. So ask yourself, where am I racist?
Okay, beautiful. Thank you. Tracy, thoughts about that?
I think I like to focus on racist behavior, because I think people always say, "Oh, remember that saying? I don't have a racist bone in my body," or whatever. Like I used to even say that. I think it's about looking for racist behavior. Where do I have racist behavior, or what am I feeling right now when I hear the conversation? What's the feeling? Oh, that's not mine. Oh, that's not mine to do. I'm not feeling called for that. That's not my calling. That's not my road to go. If there's any kind of resistance, it's yours to feel. It's yours to expand.
Yeah.
Any type of resistance is a red flag that it is yours. And, like you said, Reverend Jude, we all swim in it. So there's not one of us that wouldn't benefit from more conversations, from more exposure, from more self-inquiry, from more what was my experience growing up? What is my experience now? Where do I live? Who are my neighbors? Do I have any Black people in my life? Do I have any Latino people in my life? Do I have any kind of diversity whatsoever in my life, in my grocery store, and to just take a look around, start to notice, I don't know, I think just start to pay attention, start to recognize that I am starting to recognize that I'm a white person swimming in whiteness, and that there is resistance to anything around that awareness on so many levels, and to just start to pay attention. And I think one thing leads to another. I think we're all guided. But we have to pay attention. And I think the resistance is the biggest thing, because I think from the beginning, it was like, oh, that's not mine. That's not me. I'm not that. I'm not this. Hey.
And that's an easy slippery slope. And it's understandable. I want to say it's understandable, because if it's almost as if you're not overtly acting in a certain way, you can dismiss your complicity in what's going on. It's an easy thing to do. And so that's why this conversation is not obvious. And that's why some people they're like, what are you talking about? And if you're one of those people, I understand that this is not obvious, but it's the not obvious part that becomes the dangerous part. It is the not noticing. I mean, I never drive by. I don't know what I think I would do. I would hope to God that I would be called to do the right thing. But every time on a highway now, when I'm driving by a car that's been pulled over, I'm always take note, is that a person of color? I never drive by a pulled over vehicle anymore. And I'm always relieved when it's somebody white. Because that fear has been struck in my heart. And, and part of me wants to say to you, not on my watch, but I'm not that powerful. But we do add to the whole. We all in this conversation add to the whole. Um, and if you don't know, just even join us in the book study. Join us. We'll walk with you. We promise to love you, and we'll promise to even tolerate the stupid things you might say. Because we've all said them.
And it's a safe place. It's a safe place to bring all of it, to bring your vulnerability, to bring your not knowingness, to bring whatever it is that you bring. We are creating a safe space to have this conversation, and that's really important too.
And I'm grateful for anyone who's ever called me out. Like in my blind spots, thank you for calling me out. It didn't feel wonderful at the time, but feeling wonderful is not the goal here.
Isn't that it too? To build up tolerance, to actually hear the truth.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. I have spiritual muscles. I want to build muscles. I want to build awareness muscles so that I can do what is mine to do when I'm called to do it. And I want to build up tolerance so that I can hear and accept when somebody says that's that's racist behavior, Tracy. Okay.
Because of the people in my community, and because of our diversity, I have people that I deeply love. And when I want to shake myself into action or into staying in this conversation, I ask myself, how Tony Hamilton is saying, if I'm white, why should I bother? Because you're my sister, Tony. That's why. And Tony's here and Ty is here because you're my sister and you're my brother, and because I love and adore you. And I would be
and I can't be free until all are free.
Yeah. I mean, that's why. Because when I want to have my downline, my ancestral downline, be cleaner. I want it to be cleaner. So we're coming upon that time where we start to close up. I want to know what's left on your hearts. If there's anything that's just left on your heart that you want to share about this subject, in any way.
For me, I want to speak personally for a moment, is that I have so much work to do. I have so much to learn. And, we were in our facilitator training the other night, and one of the young women said, I have faith that this can be done in our lifetime. And she likened it to when people were smoking everywhere, and everybody thought, oh, that's never going to change, right? People are they will not change. They will not open up their consciousness for that. And she said, but we did do it. And there were laws and legislation, and people's hearts changed. And so up until that conversation, I was thinking, okay, I don't have to finish this work, but neither can I abandon it. And now, after that conversation with this wise young woman who said this can change in our lifetime, I am adopting that vision. And that has been on my heart, that this can change in my lifetime. Even as a woman of a certain age, it can change in my lifetime. So that's what's been on my heart since that.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to stay present. I just want to be that person that I just want to stay engaged enough so that one morning, one day I wake up and I am a friend. I am a friend to all. People feel comfortable in my presence, that I'm aware of what I say and how I think and what I believe in a way that is more inclusive, more open, more loving, more, I just want to clean my side of the street so that that I have taken care of what has transpired before me. You know, I heard that metaphor around, like, when you buy a house and your backyard's all messy in a disaster, and I say, oh, I'm not going to clean that up because I didn't make that mess. I didn't make that mess that's in my backyard, but I'm living in that backyard, so it's mine to clean up.
Mhm.
And that has really stuck with me, that it's mine to clean up. No matter who did it, it's mine to clean up. And so just want to be that courageous person.
Yeah, thank you. I want to give a shout out to Tracy Brown, who continues to do this work, and Michelle Sinegal, and David Alexander, who does great work, and Georgia Prescott, who was on the show with us last time with Rev Jude, and all the people out there who just stay in the conversation. That's my last request. Be willing to have the conversation and be willing to not know. You don't have to have the answers. You don't have to show up like, oh, I got this. Just be willing to be prompted, be willing to know something new, and to realize that you were born into this. And in some ways, you've been behind the 8 ball and you didn't know it. So what we get to do is just to come out from behind it and do the best we can. But this is, folks, I'm begging you, take this out of the political conversation. This is about human rights. This is about loving humans, all humans, in the same way. Ladies, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Please stay in the studio if you don't mind at the end of the show so we could chat for a minute. For all those of you, please share this stream, this show with all your friends and family on Facebook, and reach out to us. Please reach out. We want to be in the conversation with you. And with the bounty of love, I thank you for being here. I ask you to come on back next week. And I say to you, be well, be happy, and be brilliant. I love you. Thank you. Bye, girls. Thank you.